Instagram post ever made. We all have used Instagram before, whether it's DMing our crush or liking a picture. But what about the posts that go unseen? And when I mean unseen for years. Today we're going to be looking at the Instagram account NVGK. A follower sent me this Instagram account, and when I clicked on the profile, I was beyond shocked. I click on the profile and I see 3 pictures. The first picture is a man in a gas mask, and we can see it was posted in 2016. The second picture was posted on the same day as the first picture in 2016. And I click on the third picture, and that picture was posted today. And if we look at the caption, we can see a ridiculous amount of numbers. Well, I was able to decrypt these numbers, and you won't believe what the message says. June 20 is the day of reckoning. The fire will light up the abyss to free the damned souls for eternity. June 20 is the day of freedom. And right now it's June 15th at the time of posting this video. Make sure to like and follow so I can keep you updated. I'm very curious as to what's going to happen next with this Instagram account. Scariest Instagram post ever made, part 2. We all have used Instagram before, whether it's DMing a crush or liking a photo. But what about the posts that go unseen? This is a part 2 to the first one, and this video by far is the best video I've ever made. An Instagram user named NVGK has been posting these pictures with these mysterious captions hinting to the date June 20th, which is tomorrow at the time of posting this. Every post contains binary code in the caption hinting to a secret message. For example, the user posted this photo with this caption, and we were able to decrypt that message to say the veil will be lifted. Another post the person made is with this caption, but this one says tomorrow everything ends and everything begins. It's too late, you cannot stop it now, they are here. I saw they made a video inside of someone's house with binary code playing in the background. So I literally downloaded the Instagram video and played it on my computer and actually wrote out every single number it was saying. 1000111001. If you listen closely, after every few numbers there's a pause, and I used that pause to give me spacing. I then converted the binary code into these numbers. But once again I was stuck because I have 19 random numbers that I have no idea what they go to. I was on my computer reading part 1 of my original video, seeing if anybody else has figured this out yet. And then I took a look at the link in the video. Every TikTok video that's posted gets 19 random numbers added to the link. So I just typed those numbers out into the link, and then bam, a TikTok account popped up. The only video is a black screen, but if you watch the entire video, at the last second there's more code. Make sure to like and follow because I'm this close to figuring all of this out. Scariest Instagram post ever made, part 3. We all have used Instagram before, whether it's DMing a crush or liking a photo. But what about the posts that go unseen? This is part 3 of investigating the Instagram account known as NVGK, and I think I might have solved this. First things first, the Instagram account was hinting to doomsday on June 20th, but obviously it's June 21st, so nothing happened. As I was reading the comments on the past 2 videos, I realized you guys are taking this very, very serious. And I need to be very clear that this is just an ARG. An ARG is an alternate reality game based in the real world for storytelling. Second, they posted this video clip in Morse code. Take a listen. It says, "They lied to me. Everything is wrong. Listen to me, please. They are now free at last." Then yesterday, I received this email. The title was in binary code, and I just decrypted the binary code, and it said, "Letter from us." So this means there's a group of people running this account, not just one person. They then sent me a video titled SS01.mp4. I also decrypted that, and it says the next steps will be soon. This whole thing just gives me a headache, but make sure to like and follow because I'm gonna solve this and find out who was running this account. This is why you should always FaceTime before bed. A woman named Catherine got off work and decided to get in the shower. She dried off, put her hair in a ponytail, and got ready for her FaceTime date with her husband since he was out of town. She laid in bed, got comfortable, and picked up her phone. She dialed her husband's phone number and it started to ring. Her husband answered the phone and the two talked about how their day went and just kind of caught up with one another. Then the power suddenly goes out. Catherine began to worry, but her husband told her not to panic. Since they purchased an older home, power outages were normal. Then he told her the power would turn back on in about 30 minutes. Catherine said okay and continued her conversation in the dark. She then realized her phone battery was low, so she reached to grab her charger. As she was reaching for the charger, her phone falls. Her husband becomes silent over the phone. She reaches under the bed and picks up her phone and says, "I think you're accidentally on mute." Her husband looks at her and says, "Under the bed." If you guys want to see more stories like this, make sure to like and follow. If you ever plan on skydiving, you need to watch this first. A young man named Tyler Turner was 18 at the time and wanted to go skydiving. He called up 3 of his friends and told them the idea, and all 3 of them wanted to go with him. His mom, clearly nervous, decided to tag along so she could help take pictures and to go for some moral support. Tyler arrives at the skydiving place and they inform him he's going to be doing a tandem jump. A tandem jump is when you and your instructor have one parachute and you both jump together. Tyler, clearly nervous, says this on video.
My mom over there. Hello, very loving mom. Done a lot for me in my life. Hope more that she'll help me with more of my life because I want to make it. Okay, we're gonna make it.
Before getting on the plane, he gets on his knees and prays and then waves to his mom and says that he loves her. While the plane is 13,000 feet in the air, his mom on the ground is recording up. She starts seeing parachutes jump out, but she can't remember which color her son's parachute was. She waited and waited until she realized that Tyler's parachute never came out. Tyler and the instructor's parachute malfunctioned, crashing down at 13,000 feet, killing both of them instantly. Later, it was found out the instructor never had a license. This is why you should always check under your bed. A little kid named Caleb was getting ready for bed and decided to go brush his teeth. He went to the bathroom, brushed his teeth, and told his mom goodnight like usual. Caleb climbed into bed and watched TV until he fell asleep. Caleb then wakes up in the middle of the night screaming for his mom. His mom, startled, jolts into the room and asks Caleb why is he screaming. Caleb says, "Mr. Bones won't let me sleep." His mom says, "Mr. Bones? That was my monster's name when I was your age." She then laughs and says, "Maybe he's here for me and not you." The lights shut off and the door slams. Caleb stops and stares and said, "He told me the same thing." If you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure to like and follow. This is why you should never get away with murder. A woman named Sophia met a man named Daniel in high school. The couple would always talk about their future and how they wanted to travel when they were older. A couple years later, Sophia gives birth to a little girl named Mia. Mia was the average kid and always loved to carry around her blonde baby doll. One night while Mia was sleeping, Sophia went upstairs and killed the little girl. The couple hid the knife and doll in a box and got away with murder since there was no evidence. 10 years later, Sophia is pregnant again. She gives birth to a little girl named Olivia who had blonde hair. A few years later, they're sitting in the kitchen and Olivia finds the hidden box with the doll and knife inside. Olivia picks up the doll and looks at her mom and says, "I remember playing with this in my old body." This is why you should always sleep with a lamp on. A woman named Katie drove home from a long day of work. She puts her keys down and begins cooking dinner. She sits down, eats her dinner, and begins watching a late night TV show. She watches the show for a few hours, realizes what time it is, and begins to go to bed. She walks through the hallway and turns her light off. She feels like she just saw something behind her and turns the lights back on. She realizes something is there, goes into her room, and immediately gets under the covers. Her lights start flashing, and then it gets quiet. She peeks her head outside from the covers. Send this video to a friend to see if they can make it all the way to the end. If you guys want to see more stories like this, make sure to like and follow. This is why you should always know your mom's voice. A young girl named Casey is playing in her bedroom and folding some clothes. As she's playing in her room, she starts hearing plates being thrown around in the kitchen. Her not thinking anything of it, continues to play. She then hears her mother call her name from the kitchen. Casey responds, "Coming," and begins walking down the hallway. As she is walking down the hallway, a hand pops out of the closet and grabs her. The hand pulls her in and Casey looks and it's her mother. She pulls Casey close and whispers in her ear, "Don't go in the kitchen, I heard it too." If you guys want to see more stories like this, make sure to like and follow. This is why you should always call for backup. A man named Michael was sitting at home watching the news when the news reported there was a serial killer that was loose. Like every other typical person, Michael watched it and just shrugged it off because he thought it couldn't happen to him. He got hungry and decided to go get something to eat. He grabbed his keys and looked up on his phone the nearest fast food restaurants that were open. He gets in the car and begins driving. As he pulls onto the interstate, he sees red and blue lights behind him. The officer comes by his window and says, "License and registration, please." Michael hands the officer his information and the officer says, "Would you mind coming to sit in the car with me? There's a serial killer on the loose." Michael agrees and gets in the officer's car. As they're both sitting in the car, Michael turns over and says, "So what does this serial killer look like anyway?" The officer smiles and says, "A lot like me, actually." If you guys want to see more stories like this, make sure to like and follow. Disturbing dark web stories that actually happened.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
This is the story of Daisy's destruction, all done in one part, so keep up. Peter Scully, a man who lived in Australia, moved to the Philippines because child prostitution was so popular. Peter ran a website for pedophiles where people could buy videos for upwards of $10,000. Peter and his accomplice would lure children into his torture room and commit heinous acts for profit. The most famous film film he created was titled Daisy's Destruction. The film featured 3 girls, Cindy, Liza, and Daisy, who was 18 months old at the time. The accomplice wore a mask and would hang these children upside down and torture them and record the entire thing. Peter Scully was arrested and charged for the heinous crimes he committed. Today, the website still lingers around because people were able to make backups of it. I will end this video with a message from one of the victims.
Never be happy again and not think about them.
I hope I can forget when I grow up.
This is why you should always know a preacher. A man named Jack went to church on Sunday. He sat next to the preacher and said that he needed to talk. The preacher asked what's wrong and Jack says, I just can't do this anymore. The preacher says, can't do what anymore? Jack says, deal with my ex-wife. She's driving me crazy. The preacher says, what is she doing that's causing you to feel this way? Jack says, she's driving me insane. She's trying to take my kids away and I can't let her do that. The preacher says, I understand, but you need to do things the legal way. There's not much I can do for you other than pray. Jack stops and looks at the preacher for a second. Jack says, lawyers can't help me, Father. The preacher says, why not? Jack says, my ex-wife is dead. I need an exorcist. If you guys want to see more stories like this, make sure to like and follow. This is the scariest voicemail, too creepy to hear. A man named Braxton was receiving calls from his daughter late at night. He checked his phone and saw that he had 16 missed calls from his daughter, which was odd because they were in the same house. He opened his door and saw his daughter was making a late night snack in the kitchen. The father asked, why did you call me so many times? And the daughter says, I must have just butt dialed you. As they're having this conversation, Braxton's phone rings. It rings from his daughter's number. They both look at each other and he sends it to voicemail and then a message pops up. They both look at each other and click play on the voicemail. This is what they heard. This is why you should always drive with your lights on. A girl named Kayla was at the movies with her friends when she decided to drive home. She grabbed her purse and opened the car door. As she put the key in the ignition, she heard her phone vibrate. It was a message from an unknown number asking, where are you going? She replied back home thinking it was one of her friends. She put her phone down and started driving. She came up on a red light when her phone ringed again. It was the same phone number that messaged her 2 words, red light. She began to worry and asked, who is this? The light turned green and Kayla was looking over her shoulder because she felt like somebody was watching her. She made a few turns and stopped at a stop sign. Her phone ringed again and the message said, this isn't the way you usually go. Kayla begins to freak out and decides to call the number. She presses call and the phone rings. The unknown number answers and Kayla says, hello? Kayla begins to worry when she hears her voice on the other line. She pulls into her driveway and says, where are you? The unknown number says, behind you. This is why you should always keep your phone charged. A girl named Marissa came home from school at around 3 p.m. She walked in the door and told her mom that some random number kept calling her all day. Her mom told her the person may have the wrong number and just to ignore it. Marissa said okay and begins to do her homework. A couple hours later, she receives a phone call from the same number. Marissa answers it this time and says, hello? The man then says, we finally found you. Don't worry, bunny. Marissa begins to panic and tells her mom what just happened. Her mom's face goes blank and says, what did the man just call you? Marissa says, he called me bunny. Her mom yells and says, grab your stuff, we need to leave. Marissa, confused, packs her things and gets into the red car. Her mom begins driving fast and turns on the radio. The radio says, the baby named Marissa who was kidnapped in the hospital 10 years ago has been found and police are searching for a red car. Marissa looks at the woman and says, who are you? The woman looks back and says, you can call me mommy. I'm going to jump scare you in this video. I'm not going to tell you how I'm going to do it or when I'm going to do it, but I promise I'm going to get you. Send this video to a friend because if they don't reply with a secret message at the end, they're a fake friend. Good luck. You're going to need it. Congratulations, you passed. Here's an Amazon gift card for your hard work. Make sure to like and follow so that way you guys never miss another upload. Alright, I'll see you guys later.